Don't know how I would have done this whole thing without you. Dude, you've been my person throughout all the fucking boys that have come through, you know, in both both yours and my journey. Sometimes the both of us. Sometimes the same one. Literally, sometimes the same guy.
Oh, it's a sad day for reality review by Valerie today. I am really sad. And if you've watched the episode, you already know why I'm sad. Oh, my favorite is gone. I really don't get that, man. I really don't get that, man. Don't get me started. I am furious because you can't be flirting with someone. You can't be telling someone that I'm coming to your hotel room. They'd better not tell me your hotel room number. And then at recoupling, make a different decision. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The math ain't mathing. I'm sorry, I have to say that because the math ain't mathing. If you don't like someone enough to couple up with them, then don't like them enough to flirt with them and tell them that you're coming to their room. How? Oh my God, I get so passionate and I digress. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome back to my channel. Amazing, we finally got to 1,000. Let's keep it going, guys. Thank you very much to everyone who supported me for my Love Island Australia reviews. I appreciate all of you. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island Australia, Season 5, Episode 24. Okay, here goes. So it's after, you know, the stripper night thingy and people are just reminiscing. And then you have Andy still having his conversation with Nakia. They're talking about the fact that, you know, they're flirting until it comes up to the conversation about where are they going to sleep. Nakia is sort of implying that she wants to sleep on the daybed with Andy because she already said it after he performed. And he's sort of saying, oh, well, I don't know. I don't want to be petty. Well, bro, you lifted her up, as she said, you sat her on your crutch, kissed her passionately, while you had Harmony watching in front of everybody, and you think that's not petty? Huh? Seriously. I think Andy likes Nakia, but he's worried because he hasn't made his mind whether he wants to recouple or whether he wants to go home. I think he doesn't want to break either girl's heart, but it's a bit too late because you have up on the terrace Harmony sort of peeping, and Nakia's brother comes to the rescue. He's sort of asking her, why are you peeping? Because it was awkward. I don't get why Harmony was peeping because Andy's broken up with her. So why is she peeping? Why does she care what he does? Because he's moved on. She needs to try and put her eggs in Reed's basket. You know, he's the walking red flag who's always bouncing from bed to bed to bed. And the fact that she was sort of venting to Nate, and Nate was just going, I was like, Nate, please leave this girl alone. Leave her to vent to someone who actually cares. I know you care, or you're there just to support her, but she's venting to the wrong person. And I don't know why Harmony doesn't realize that almost every person in the villa is Nakia's friend. So venting to them is more or less venting to Nakia, because if she vents to Georgia, Georgia's telling Nakia. If she vents to Tyra, Tyra's telling Nakia. Nate, the same. So her only person to vent to would be Lucinda, but then Lucinda is shady. Lucinda will bring it back just to be malicious. So I think she should have just watched it and kept quiet and just left it alone as it was, because it wasn't necessary. So you have Tyra sit down for a chat with Kale. I'm going to be a bit controversial. Tyra and Kale, for me, I know someone was saying, oh, they're dating in the real world and stuff, and I don't know. They are sweet towards one another, don't get me wrong, but something is a bit off. I don't know whether they've decided to be respectful and maintain boundaries and not sort of do anything disrespectful that their parents might be offended by, or whether it's just because they know they're going to be in a couple in the real world, so they don't need to make out all the time. They don't need to. I don't know. Something is just a bit off. But anyway, they have this conversation about it being exclusive. And I like the fact that they were private. They didn't have people there and sort of declare with cards and all, you know, all that Love Island, you know, stuff that always happens. So it was cute to see them just, you know, have this conversation, agree to be exclusive and say they'll go out into the real world and they won't talk to anybody else. So I really do wish them the best. And if they are working out in the real world, amazing. And then Tyra sort of has a conversation with Sav, telling her, and Sav is excited. I don't know when Sav, I think it's maybe finding someone who really likes her that's allowed her to take a step back from Lucinda, because she seems more sort of inclined to spend her time with Nakia and Tyra and that sort of group. And it's interesting because that's quite a big change, because initially she was always with Lucinda, but now she's taken steps back and she's avoiding Lucinda and she's barely witnessed Lucinda, or she's barely shown to be around Lucinda. That's interesting. And so now in the villa, everybody's talking because Nakia's telling the girls that Andy, we had a conversation. He said he doesn't want to sleep on the day beds because he doesn't want to send the wrong impression to Harmony. You know, he's worried about. And here's my sort of thought process. I think Andy thinks Nakia is very strong-willed. Nakia is very strong. She's not easily fazed by anything just because she doesn't show it. And he thinks, you know, Harmony is this vulnerable, delicate person that he needs to protect. Not knowing that just because Nakia wears her pain amazingly, that doesn't mean she's not hurting deep down. And so for him to sort of choose to stay in bed with Harmony doesn't make sense to me. Harmony was saying, oh, I think he's sleeping outside. I've put his pillow on the floor. I don't know why she allowed him to get into bed. And I don't know why she was talking to him. I think she still likes Andy. I think Harmony is hoping Andy picks her. I think Harmony is hoping Andy sort of changes his mind because she was complaining to Nate that he doesn't even cuddle me in bed. And it's like, he broke up with you. Why would he cuddle you in bed? Make that make sense? That doesn't sort of... The math thing, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. So I know the guys, everyone was very curious as to where Andy was sleeping. And I think they were all shocked to see him go and sleep with Harmony. And that's the only reason why I can think he decided to sleep with Harmony is the fact that he's worried that, oh, she's vulnerable. She's very delicate. I don't want to hurt her feelings. And it's like, what about Nakia? As Nakia said, what about me? Just because I'm not crying doesn't mean that I don't feel pain. I feel pain, but I just decide to hold it in and not show everyone that I'm broken. So also care about my feelings. I wish there were bombshells coming in because I think if there were, Nakia would need to move on. But because there's no one else coming in, she has to wait for Andy to make up his mind. So finally, the drama of where's Andy going to sleep is solved because he ends up sleeping in the bed with Harmony. Harmony's having conversations with him. And it's like, please, leave this man alone. Leave this man alone. You don't need to force yourself on him. He's shown you he doesn't care. So keep it moving. I think he liked her. But also, I think he liked Nakia. And when the whole sort of drama around her sort of backstabbing him happened, he just was turned off and he's never been able to turn himself back on because in the morning he's the first person to jump out of bed and it's like, so why are you sleeping inside if you're the first person to jump out of bed and you're showing this girl that you don't like her? What is it? Is it because you don't want to give Nakia the wrong impression? You want Nakia to really earn it or to earn you back because you didn't feel like she was really all that into you or what? Make it make sense? Anyway, in the morning, Kale sets up this, strawberry and chocolate date for Tyra. And it's like, did the producers ask him to do that? I think they were annoyed that he did the grand gesture of sort of asking her to be exclusive and they weren't involved. And this is where they had the chocolate date. And it's like, make it make sense. And Tyra said to him, you came here saying you wanted blondes and now you're living with a little African girl. And it's like, oh, that's cute. So I don't know. I like them as a couple, but something is a bit off and I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's the edit or what. I really don't get it. Maybe they don't do a lot of PDAs. Maybe they don't have a lot of sort of in-depth conversations or whatever that they're talking about. The producers don't like, and this is why we're not seeing a lot of them. Anyway, so Zach receives a text message to say that everybody's going to play a game, Hot Flash. And here the drama starts. The producers don't want to see peace. They want problems always. So on the game, they were going to answer A or B. They were going to be given two options. And whatever option they picked, that were, if it was correct, then you wouldn't be slimed. If it was wrong, you'd be slimed. Nakia got to play host because she's not in a couple. So I'm not going to say every single question that's asked. I'm just going to talk about the questions that stood out. Anyway, first up is Reed and Chloe. And I was surprised that Reed was able to remember Chloe's mom's name. That was cute. And also, Chloe backed the wrong horse. And I think this... You could see it on her face because she was asked how many threesomes has Reed been a part of, 5 or less than 5. And it's like, seriously, more than 5. Does he ever have sex with just him and his partner, or does there always have to be an audience or another party participating? Why does he need somebody else to participate? Who is participating in all those sort of threesomes? You could see Chloe was broken. Am I surprised that this is who Reed is? No, because he's shown us who he is. He's someone who's very indecisive. He's always moving from partner to partner to partner. And I think until he finds the person that he really likes and he falls in love with, he's always going to be a bedbug. So I'm sorry for Chloe, but hey, she backed the horse she didn't really investigate, and here she is. Okay, I'm going to say this. This is going to be a very controversial review, isn't it? Anyway, I think the producers are really trying to sell Savannah and Clint as a couple. That's the impression that I'm getting. I think Zach and Lucinda are trying to sell each other as a couple, but I think the producers have shifted from Zach and Lucinda because they've realized the audience don't like them. So they're sort of moving towards Savannah and Clint because the questions they asked about Savannah don't make sense. They asked about her, her dream character as a child. They didn't ask. I thought they were going to talk about her having, sex or taking nude pics in a thingy, in a booth at a high school, or they're going to play some of the provocative things she said as questions. But no, they had very cute questions for her, and even for Clint, I liked, his questions were he's someone who seems very well mannered and very well behaved, even though he's on Love Island. So I'm not surprised with his questions. But with Savannah, I thought they were going to be more racy, because if they're going to out-read, then they might as well out Savannah. Why not, use the same measuring stick for both? I don't know. I felt bad about my comment about Sav, that the producers were trying to sort of revamp her. But it's evident because with Nate and Georgia, they asked, Nate, what's Georgia's favorite, turn on? And it's like, why are we talking about turn ons for other people? And yet other people were talking about Barbie houses and whatever. Make it make sense. So it was cute to see that I think Nate had his own idea of what turned her on, given his experience, and only to find out that she likes dirty talk. And so they were sort of chatting in their confessional that, oh, well, I might need to practice my dirty talk then. And that was cute. And then, Georgia was asked, how would Nate rate himself? And she sort of questioned whether he was humble or not. And given her experience, she gave him a 10 out of 10. And he gives himself a 9 out of 10. And he told her, I give myself a 9 out of 10 just because I know there's always room for improvement. And it's like, hey, back yourself. And it's cute to see that she didn't say anything negative, because somebody else would be, oh, that's way too high to rate himself. But I guess with all the noises we heard, she is justified in giving him a 10 out of 10. And I repeat again, the producers have their favorites that they're trying to revamp. So for Zach and Lucinda, Zach is asked where would Lucinda like to have sex. He says, on a yacht, and yet she wants to have sex in the cinema. And his question to her is, why would you want to have sex in a cinema where there's a lot of creepy people watching? And it's like, you've had sex on national TV. What do you think, Sherlock Holmes? What do you think? We've all watched you. A cinema is way better because it's only those people in the cinema, whereas anyone who's got access to the internet can watch you in 4K. Oh my God. I know, I'm a bit hyper. Anyway, and then Zach, they ask, oh, who would you want to be? And it's like, why are we asking Zach, more dignified questions? Why are we not asking Zach about who he said all the worst things about, or how creepy he can be? Why do we have to have cute questions for Zach? I don't get it. Next up is Andy and Harmony. And obviously the messy couple are going to have to chime in and say something. So they both answered correctly all their questions. And then you have listened to say, oh, you people know a lot about each other. You know a lot about each other. And you have Zach chiming in, oh, kiss. And it's like, seriously, why do you have to involve yourself in other people's drama? Why can't you mind your own business and just sit there and keep quiet? We don't need your opinions in this. You don't need to sort of keep provoking Nakia for a reaction, because I think Zach doesn't like the fact that Nakia calls him out and she can read him, and so she understands who he is. And so because of that, he's always trying to be messy, trying to cause her to be upset, or trying to sort of create a situation whereby she appears as though she's the bad guy. There was no need for him to call out for the kiss, but hey, it is what it is. And Andy, you could tell, was disappointed. I think he didn't want to be right. So for Zach to call kiss, and Andy refused, and you have Harmony saying, oh, don't force him to do anything he doesn't want to. And it's like, he told you he doesn't like you. What else do you need him to say? Why would you want someone who told you he wants to break up with you to kiss you? Why? Kale and Tyra were shocking in the sense that they didn't get anything right about each other. I thought the reason why they were not being shown was because they were having more in-depth conversations that the producers felt were boring and would lead the viewers to think that they are sort of going to stay together until the end. And so I don't get, if they're not talking and they're not making out, what are they doing? What are they doing together? I don't get it, because I was saying something is a bit off about them. I know it's simple things like what's your favorite fruit, but I would assume that if Kale asked Tyra, what is it you don't like apart from strawberries, why didn't she ask him the same thing? What is your favorite food or whatever? And I don't get it. Something is off with Kale and Tyra. I don't know what it is. But anyway, Nakia, it was interesting to see her sort of be the sort of host and sort of ask questions, especially given the fact that she's been in a couple with Kale. She's been in a couple with Nate. She's been in a couple with Andy. So she must know some bits about the guys. And so it would have been interesting. I wonder how she would have responded. I think they should have done that. They should have asked her to sort of sit down with all three guys that she's been in a couple with to see who she knows best. But anyway, I don't get, who knows their partner best. I don't know whether that's a sign that they really like the person and they want to know about the person, or whether it's because they're bored and they have nothing else to do, so they're busy asking question after question after question. Am I surprised with the winners for the Dump Challenge? No, apparently Andy and Harmony knew the most about each other, and Kale and Tyra knew the least about each other, and it doesn't make sense given the fact that the other couple are always together all the time, and the other couple, he can barely stay close to her. He's always running away from her. So I don't know whether he just listens to her because he's very attentive, or whether he listens to her because he really likes her. I don't get it. So after the game, the guys sort of sit down with Andy and he's sort of discussing his dilemma in the sense that he doesn't know who to pick. He's sort of stuck in between Nakia and Harmony. I think with Harmony, there's nothing there. I think sadly, Harmony threw him under the bus, and whatever intentions he had towards her, they disappeared with the bus. And with Nakia, I don't know why he's so obsessed about the idea that she's only 21. Is he worried that he'll fall in love with her, and then when it comes to time to ask her to marry her, she won't be ready? I don't get it. I think if he's, as he says, likes spending time with her, you should give her that opportunity. You should spend time with her, get to know her, see if it really works for them or not. If it doesn't, that's amazing. If it does, that's also amazing. But I don't think he should just, judge a book by its cover. She has shown that she can be mature when needed. And so I don't get why he's hesitant about giving it another go. I don't know. Anyway, Nakia calls her brother Nate for a chat, and she's sort of asking for his opinion in regards to the Andy situation and seeing what, or if there's a way forward. And from Nate's understanding, as Andy has said, he's leaning more towards Nakia than Harmony. So hopefully that works out, but I don't know. So the Islanders get ready, and Nate is the one who's giving the toast, and I thought it was sweet. The fact that he was talking about positive vibes. Nate has always been positive throughout this experience. Even when things were not going his way, he's always tried to be as positive as possible, which I really like. And so I felt the toast was sweet, and everybody was very moved by it, so that was good to see. Chloe then pulls Reed for a chat, and it's like, it's about time. It's about time. And when she asks him about the threesome, the fact that he had to make this accent, I was in Barcelona, and and it's like, please, just explain yourself. And for him to say, yes, I've been involved in threesomes, but it's not like when I'm in a relationship. That is worrying. That is worrying. Whether or not he was in a relationship doesn't matter when he had his threesomes, because how do you know if he's engaging in threesomes behind his partner's back? What's to say that he's done with that and he's moving on and is no longer going to have threesomes? Reed hasn't done anything to show that he's after consistency. So I don't know why Chloe was quick to eat it up, or whether she just wants to stay in a couple and stay in the villa. I didn't get it. Anyway, Andy then pulls Nakia for a chat. And it's confusing for me because he sits down for a chat with Nakia. First of all, he told the guys that he really likes Nakia. He's enjoying his time with her more than he is with Harmony. He flirts with Nakia by the fire pit, and yet is not being concrete with her. I don't get it. I think there's more that he's not saying out. I think his concerns are more than just age, and I wish he could really let Nakia know so that Nakia knows where she stands. Anyway, Nakia receives a text message for people to gather by the fire pit, and Sophie arrives. So because there's more girls than guys, the guys are going to choose, and apparently whoever they choose is their partner until the finale. So hey, good luck. First up is Nate. Nate was sweet. Even all the girls were like, oh. I think Georgia has come to appreciate the man she's coupled up with. I think she's come to appreciate the consistency with him, and I hope nothing sort of breaks them up. My concern is that the producers, seeing the support that Nate and Georgia are receiving, are going to end up trying to look for negative images or negative sort of storylines to try and turn the viewers off. And I hope people don't buy into it. I hope people stick with Nate and Georgia till the end, because I think they deserve to win. Yes, Georgia had her little thing with Trent, but once she decided she was in 100% for Nate, she hasn't looked back. Whatever issues they've had, they've worked through them. So I really hope they make it through to the end. Next up is Clint, and Clint is being given a positive spin because of Sav. I don't know what Sav has done for the producers that they've decided to give her this positive spin, but hey. Am I surprised that Clint picked Sav? No, since he walked into the villa, he's only been focused on Sav, and you can see that he brings out the brighter side of Sav, or the positive side of Sav. We haven't heard her say anything that comes across as crass. We haven't heard her say anything that's sort of provocative that you'd be like, oh no, she needs to keep quiet. So that's been cute to see, and she seems very ecstatic that, you know, at least she's finally found someone who puts her first, so that's good. I wish her the best, but I don't want her to win, sadly. And then the performers, we have Zach stand up. Oh, I asked this girl to be my girlfriend and I can't wait to go to the supermarket. And it's like, seriously, this is what you're telling us. And everybody didn't make any sound, so Lucinda had to go, oh, because people made it. Lucinda wants to be the breakout couple, in my opinion. And so whatever positivity that any other couple gets, she wants it for herself. So because everybody said for Nate, I think she expected them to say for Zach, and everybody kept quiet and just looked at him, and it's like, there's nothing special there. We've all seen how he's treated you. He's only being this amazing because you're getting towards the end and he really wants to win. I don't know whether he loves her. I don't know. I don't know how he feels. I cannot speak to that. But for me, it seems very calculated and very performative when it comes to Lucinda and Zach, sadly. Someone needs to tell Reed that calling himself a bomb diffuser is not appealing at all, because he stands up, he does his little spiel, and Chloe is on cloud 9. And it's like, yeah, he says you've changed him, but I think there's a lot of things going on there that when you leave the villa, the two of you, and you get into the real world, you will need to have a lot of conversations before you can take this man seriously, because the fact that he's been hopping from girl to girl to girl, and the fact that he said he's had more than 5, threesomes, how many in total has he had? You need a lot of conversations and you need a lot of vaccines before you can get along with this man. Next up is Kale, and Kale's speech was sweet. It was really sweet. This is what I don't get, that Zach has been with Lucinda since the very beginning, and yet people that have coupled up after him have more endearing or more positive things to say about their partner. It doesn't make sense, but I like Kale for Tyra, but as I said, there's something a bit off that they need to work on. I don't know whether it's their communication style, they need to know more about each other, or what exactly it is. I don't know, but something is not 100% for me when it comes to Kale and Tyra. So last up is Andy, and I am so confused. I know Nakia said Andy is a people pleaser, but I think he takes it to another level because of the fact that he's decided to remain single because he feels that he's there for love, but he hasn't found it. Everybody else has found it and he hasn't found it. And it's like, so what are you and Nakia? Are you just a flirting thing? I think he really likes Nakia. I know some people have different views. I think Andy really likes Nakia because even after they pack their bags, he sits down and he has a conversation with Nakia. When they're standing up for their final confessional, the three of them, he's leaning more towards Nakia. I think he likes Nakia, but he didn't want to be the bad guy that broke Harmony's heart. And it's like, you've already told her you don't like her that way. You've already said that, yes, you're attracted to her, but there's never going to be anything between the two of you. So what was the point of refusing to couple up with Nakia? Because they have this flirt session of, oh, I'm going to come to your room and we'll, have one good time. And it's like, make it make sense. I feel this man should have kept with Nakia, should have gone into the real world with Nakia and seen what it was like being in a couple with her in the real world. And then if he didn't like it, amazing. If he did, hey, unless he was trying to protect himself and avoid being hurt when Nakia sort of decided to turn away from him. That's the only other thing I could think of. But I thought they had great chemistry. I thought they got along very well. So I don't understand why he decided not to make things work. And it's sad that we didn't get to see a final conversation between Nate and his sister Nakia. I would have loved that. I felt that her conversation with Tyra was cute and it was endearing to watch. I don't get the Lucinda and Harmony conversation. That was surprising for me because there's never been that sort of friendship there, so that conversation didn't make sense. And it was really sad to see the three of them leave. But hey, Harmony made her bed. She went for someone who, yes, he liked her, but really didn't like her like that, was in a couple and was happy in his couple. I think she should have gone for the bomb diffuser and should have taken her chances. But then Chloe was cutthroat. So I think she'd looked at both guys and realized that she had a better chance with Andy than she had with Reed, because I think she was terrified of Chloe. She was also terrified of Nakia, don't get me wrong, but I think Chloe scared her more and she didn't want to mess with that. But anyway, I digress. It was a great episode. I can't wait for next episode. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 24. Bye guys.